Thanks for joining us here on News 12 The Bronx. I'm Dave Roush. A baby lives to see another day because of the heroic work of 2 police officers. News 12 The Bronx reporter Anthony Carlo has the harrowing story.
It's a frightening moment for
Rich, thank you. Well, a former supervisor with the city's Human Resources Administration has been sentenced to 23 months in prison, all for defrauding 2 public assistance programs. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 45-year-old Sharice Watson Jackson, who stole more than $1.8 million, also faces 3 years of supervised release. Watson Jackson pleaded guilty in May to conspiracy to commit mail fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. And an alarming study to tell you about now, shedding light on accidental shootings that claimed the lives of children. The investigation by the Associated Press and USA Today Network found that over a 2.5-year period, kids were most likely to get shot without intention in states that have a strong gun culture, especially those states in the Deep South. That being said, kids in the Northeast, including New York City and northern New Jersey, also ranked high in that study, despite those states having tough gun legislation. Most died in their homes, usually while playing with friends. Turning now to the race for the White House. Donald Trump with some serious fighting words targeting his Democratic challenger, not only calling into question her credentials, but going so far as to knock her entire party. His remarks at a campaign event in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, come as Trump says he raised $100 million last month alone, making September the nominee's best month on record. However, Hillary Clinton brought in $154 million over that same time period, Trump saying that there are greater forces at work.
Instead of being held accountable, Hillary is running for president in what looks like a rigged election, okay? It looks to me like a rigged election. The election is being rigged by corrupt media, pushing completely false allegations and outright lies in an effort to elect her president.
Meanwhile, some new accusations against Hillary Clinton coming from WikiLeaks. 3 speech transcripts released as part of a hack of her campaign chairman emails show that the nominee mostly avoided criticism of Wall Street in paid speeches following the financial collapse back in 2008. Clinton's campaign is staying mum on the authenticity of these transcripts, but there's no indication they were ever doctored before being released to the public. And as for the next time Trump and Clinton will face off in public, well, the next presidential debate is set for this Wednesday, October the 19th. That'll be held at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas at 9 p.m. Secretary of State John Kerry with some relieving news for the families of 2 Americans, those U.S. citizens released by Yemeni rebels who were holding them captive. They say they were freed Saturday as part of a complicated diplomatic deal that included airlifts for Yemenis hurt in an airstrike. Kerry adds the United States had been working on the rescue efforts for the past few days. Well, you're watching News 12 The Bronx. Still ahead, walking to bring an end to domestic violence, how Bronxites are taking their cause to the streets of Castle Hill. Plus, we'll take another look outside at your hyper-local forecast on this autumn weekend. But first, have you seen this missing Bronxite? If so, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. Welcome back. The streets of Castle Hill taken over Saturday afternoon for the first ever domestic violence awareness march at the Castle Hill houses. Now, it was all to raise awareness in that neighborhood where police say domestic violence is a huge issue. The commanding officer of PSA 8, which hosted that event, tells us they see a lot of cases of verbal and physical abuse at the housing complex and all over the Bronx. So gatherings like these are very important to help keep people vigilant. Several domestic violence organizations were there along with the NYPD to offer services and remind survivors and current victims that they are not alone.
We want to make sure that people know that there are all different types of services in this area that are free and available for them to help them solve the problems that they're having at home.
This is great because right now what it does in this time and era, it shows people that there are people that care about them. There are services that are available for them. There are people that are willing to come out on a Saturday and put an event together like this just to show them that they are not alone.
And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so police will be organizing more events over the next few weeks. Of course, for more domestic violence resources, just head to news12.com and we will link you up. Around the city now, a final farewell Saturday for a man credited with changing the legal system in Brooklyn. Brooklyn District Attorney Ken Thompson lost his battle with cancer last Sunday at the age of 50. His funeral held Saturday morning. Those eulogizing the late DA included U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch, Governor Andrew Cuomo, and other local leaders. Their message? To commend the man who started the Conviction Review Unit, which ultimately exonerated 21 people.
Literally changed the face of justice in Brooklyn. He changed what justice looked like. He changed what justice meant for so many people.
He was a man who had such great vision. He came in to make a difference, and hopefully that difference will stay in place, and they'll continue that, and more people can be exonerated.
He leaves behind a wife and 2 children. There is still no word yet on who will permanently replace Thompson as well. And 12 is on crime this Saturday. A man shot in the neck in Edenwald. Police say the 23-year-old was hit at East 233rd Street and Baychester Avenue near the Edenwald houses. He was taken to Montefiore Medical Center. And again, anyone with information on this case is asked to urged to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. And 12 is on schools now as tens of thousands of free books were handed out to young Bronxites Saturday by the United Federation of Teachers. Organizers say 40,000 books were given out in total outside of their Bronx offices over on Halsey Street. Parents were allowed 20 books maximum for their children's home libraries. Teachers and community leaders also stopped by to take their pick from fiction and nonfiction, with reading levels that range from pre-K to high school, some even in Spanish.
I like how they're giving them out for free because they're like really nice books, and I'm excited to have them and read them.
We need to have as many books as possible to put the books in the hands of the children that we love so that they can continue their love of reading.
And those books were donated by a nonprofit organization called First Book. Elsewhere, the fall spirit was in the air on City Island. 239 Play, a vintage toy shop on City Island, had old Halloween novelty items, and the owner says that it's all about using your imagination.
In the toy business, you just have lots of broken parts, and sometimes they end up in the garbage, and we just thought it would be super cool to just get our staff together to put together doll heads with different body parts and lots of arms. We always have baby doll arms and things like that. And so a misfit toy is cool because it just has a new life form and it becomes a new creature.
And that store is fairly new to City Island as well. It opened earlier in 2016. And let's take a check of your hyperlocal weather forecast right now as we take you to the 7-day forecast for your Sunday. Warm temperatures, 71 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Few more clouds move in as you head back to work on Monday. We will see a slight chance of showers early Monday, still a high of 74. But look at Tuesday and Wednesday. It does not feel like mid-October. Highs reaching nearly 80 degrees on both of those days. Stick around. We're coming right back. Welcome back. Haitians in our community are uniting to help those impacted earlier this month by Hurricane Matthew. The Living Faith Tabernacle Church in Crotona Park East is collecting non-perishable foods, toiletries, and clothing to be sent to the island nation. So far, they've collected dozens of items, but they say that no amount is too much and no item is too small for those in desperate need.
Anything can be of use. It can be a pair of sandals. It can be of use. I mean, anything that you can possibly think of right now, Haiti needs them all.
It kind of hits home and close to home, so you can't always catch a plane out there to help, but if you can do these type of small things, like do a drive and donate clothes and donate your time, you know, we appreciate and we hope that helps.
A very worthy cause. And also making headlines, the death toll in North Carolina following Hurricane Matthew has risen to at least 26 people, bringing the total U.S. death toll to at least 43 now. Crews found 2 more bodies inside vehicles that had been submerged in floodwaters. Towns still remain underwater a week after that storm barreled up the Atlantic coast, with a section of Interstate 95 still closed in both directions as well. And a harsh reality for the families of the victims in the Sandy Hook school shooting. A judge in Connecticut dismissing a lawsuit that those same families filed against a gun manufacturer. The ruling cites a federal statute banning cases against gun makers and distributors if their firearms are used in a crime. Adam Lanza killed 20 children and 6 teachers at the school back in December of 2012. And we may be months away from the start of the next tax season, but New Yorkers who got an extension for this year's are running out of time. Officials say they're expecting about 350,000 income tax returns to be filed ahead of the extension deadline, which lands on Monday. Once the figures are finalized, the tax department says it will have processed more than 10 million personal tax returns this year. And if you're one of the people who prefers to wash your hands after touching your money, germaphobes, we're talking to you. You are in luck. Saturday was Global Hand Washing Day, and even though it might seem obvious, keeping your hands clean can prevent about 1/3 of some illnesses and almost 1 out of 6 cases of respiratory infections. And of course, this takes us to our News 12 question of the day. We want to know, how long do you wash your hands? Let us know what you think over at news12.com or on channel 612. It was an afternoon to pay it forward in Riverdale Saturday. The Caregivers Project, a mixed group dedicated to caring for seniors, spending some time at the Methodist Home for Nursing and Rehabilitation. The organization My Mother's Recipe celebrated the bond between caregiver and senior, sharing dishes and recipes that have been passed down generation after generation throughout the years.
My Mother's Recipe is the biannual potluck of the Caregivers Project. This is a purely social event where we bring together old people who are receiving care and those people who are caring for them. It has grown to become attended by people who are former caregivers who are still attached to that relationship, and the young kids that you see here who are the future caregivers.
And that special potluck is held twice a year. The last event was back in May. Elsewhere in the borough, it may have been unusually warm this weekend, but winter's right around the corner, and that means coat drives for those less fortunate here in the Bronx. Rock Mob Entertainment teamed up with the group One Warm Coat to collect gently used jackets. Organizers summarizing why they do this every year.
Today we're having a coat drop-off, a coat drive drop-off. In the next 2 weeks we'll be having another one in October 29th. You guys come out and drop off your clothes. We're actually here to help the homeless people with onewarmcoat.org. We just want to help people that are less fortunate than we are.
And for more on that organization and how you can help, just check out news12.com and we will link you up. This story making a lot of buzz in our newsroom today. A rising rap star giving fans a treat right here in his home borough of the Bronx. Yes, A Boogie with a Hoodie promoting his girlfriend's new eyelash line on Saturday. The artist attracting hundreds of fans to Pretty Proper Hair, that's on East 138th Street. Some of them scrambling to grab souvenirs that the rap star threw out of his car window. A Boogie with a Hoodie says he can't get enough of all this attention.
I love the love. I ain't gonna lie, I really love the love. Before, nobody knew me in the Bronx. Before, when I started rapping and everything, now I'm coming back here and it's all love. So it's a wonderful feeling, you know?
And the Bronx artist is originally from the Highbridge neighborhood. Well, this is News 12 The Bronx, your home for hyper-local headlines. And still on the way in sports, it was a busy day of high school football across the borough, including a big homecoming for Cardinal Hayes. Those highlights are on the way. And it is the baseball game every Bronxite couldn't wait to watch. Okay, maybe not, but still an important one nonetheless. Game 2 of the American League Championship Series from Cleveland, Ohio. The Indians hosting the Blue Jays, already with a 1-game lead in the best-of-7 series. Cleveland going on to win a close one, 2-1, behind a home run from catcher Carlos Santana. Game 3 is Monday night from the Rogers Center in Toronto. And our own local sports guru, Kurt, here. And football is the name of the game,
You did
right?
good there. That was nice.
Thank you. I've never done sports before.
We can switch anytime you want. That'd be great.
Next time I need to sit there, call me up.
Absolutely. Well, Fordham's Chase Edmonds entered Saturday's game against Yale, needing 188 yards to break the school's all-time rushing record. That's sports.
All right, Kurt. Thank you very much. All right, you're watching News 12 The Bronx. We are as local news gets. For Kurt, Rich, and the whole crew, I'm Dave Roush. Stay with us. We're coming right back.